So it's actually impossible to gain confidence. This is a big misperception about self-development, that you gain confidence. And the truth is that confidence is the default state. It's the baseline. It's who you were before you got tricked into being this new version of you, which just plays it safe, that's constantly on guard, constantly on the lookout, constantly protecting itself. So confidence is the default. Confidence is who you were before whatever happened, where you got tricked, you got lied to, you got betrayed by probably a caregiver. And what happens is you don't want to face that energy. You don't want to face that emotional energy. So instead of being able to process it, you just stuff it down. You just shove it down and make sure it never comes up again. And it's always there until you process it again. It's always there like a ball or like a little nugget stuffed probably in your solar plexus or the back of the neck. And this is what you're holding on to each day, this bundle of energy. And it isn't until you actually look back and reprocess this and actually make new sense of it from an adult perspective, because when you're a child and this happens, let's say you're walking along and you're with your I don't know, niece, she's 7 years old, and she sees a dog, this cute little dog. She goes over to pet the dog and the dog bites her. So how does she process that? Then if she's not old enough to understand that dog's just crazy and the dog didn't mean it really. The dog was just protecting itself. As an adult, that's the conclusion we draw. So it's a big distinction. But as a 7-year-old, we've always got that now. That will become that energy. Now imagine I take my niece, the girl that's just been bitten, and I say, don't cry, be a brave girl. Don't cry. That dog's just silly. And I take her and I buy her something to make her feel better. She immediately feels better because I buy her a toy or I buy her some sweets. And then she forgets about the dog. But does that emotion go away? No. She doesn't process that emotion. She's not sitting with that emotion. So that emotion stays with her. And we all have this. This is what happens. And we have this from caregivers. And these create something called core beliefs or trauma energy. Normally it's in the form of some kind of shame, this toxic shame, this core this core belief that on some level we're not good enough as we are. So we create this new version of ourselves, this superhero version of ourselves that we always feel like we need to live up to. And if we don't live up to it, we need to gain confidence to be that version of ourselves, which is not true. We are that version of ourselves, but we forget. And we layer it on through insecurity. And then we believe, because pickup artists tell us that we need to just overcome it, push through it, through exposure. Just go out and get rejected, bro. Just go out and get rejected, then you'll be okay. You'll gain confidence if you just keep the exposure, just keep going. But we know that often, I'd say about 70 or 80% of the guys that do that, they quit. They reinforce the belief about themselves that they're not good enough as they are. Because they can't handle the rejection. They can't take it. They just double down on this identity that they're not good enough as they are, and it crushes them. So it's not helpful because they haven't got to the core issue of what actually happened. So you'll be able to pinpoint, like even as you're watching this video, there was a time where there's a before and after. There's a you, the self, the playful, carefree, vulnerable, happy-go-lucky, childlike version of you, and then something happens. And what you need to do is really look at that. Really, really look at it and not judge it. And whoever did that to you, it could be accidental. But you need to look at that and realize that the people that did that, now you have the adult eyes to look at that. Not look at it from the time, but look at it from now. The perspective that you project onto it now, is from the adult. You can give it meaning. In the same way that if a dog goes to bite you, it's not going to give you trauma now because you just think that dog's crazy. That's just a dog. Whereas a 7-year-old cannot make sense of that. The 7-year-old takes it personally. The 7-year-old cannot process that. So the energy gets stored. This is the difference. So now you're starting to understand that. You're starting to see the essence of the self. We all have that. We're born with that. It's the childlike state. A child is carefree. The child feels like it owns the world. The child is extremely narcissistic. It doesn't care. things get in the way. Things happen. And you need to identify that. And all you need to do is bring awareness to it. That's the beauty of this. So once you do that, you start to realize that you cannot gain confidence. You start to tap in, and more awareness and more reinforcing of this new belief about yourself, which isn't necessarily a belief, but more about who you actually are, that reinforces the new behavior, and then it's just an upward spiral and life becomes amazing. I hope that helps. Any comments, comment below. See you in the next video.